What's up, guys? Welcome to the Linecheck podcast. Today in the studio, I have Kat McIver. How's it going?
Yep. Great. Thank you.
How's your day today?
My day was really good because it was really busy. And a busy day when you're a restaurant owner is always a good day.
Yeah.
Even if you're understaffed and even if you have to 86 things, I always love a cafe that's filled with people. So,
How was the service?
yeah. Well, as I mentioned, it's never a dull moment when you're trying to, even though WeOp is a 600 square foot cafe, people are often surprised to know that we need to have 9 people working on any given weekend. And it's always going to be something, whether it's like someone was out all week because they had jury duty and so we're behind on prep, or, someone actually, unfortunately, this week had a loss in the family.
Oh.
So, of course, they were out down for the count. So we were basically down one person in the front of the house and one person in the back of the house. But luckily right now we have a team of folks and everyone has been with us for, I think, at least 6 months. So people are they're badass.
They get it. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like,
they're on the same
everyone's
page now.
doing 2 jobs. Everyone's, making espresso drinks and bussing tables and, So it was,
awesome.
It was a great day. It's a great feeling.
Yeah, it was a beautiful day today too.
Oh,
it's so nice outside.
It was super foggy in the morning.
Oh yeah, it's been foggy the last couple days.
No,
what's it going to be like today? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it cleared up like at 10 or 11 or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys. I forgot to mention Kat is the owner with Angie Evans, your partner of WeOp. WeOp is a small cafe in Long Beach on Cherry and 4th Street. WeOp as an abbreviation for Wide Eyes Open Palms. What does Wide Eyes Open Palms, like, where do you guys come up with the name?
Yeah. So the name Wide Eyes Open Palms kind of just came to me. Actually, one day when I was sweeping someone's floors, because before my wife, who is my partner in life and business, Angie and I, before we opened WeOp together, we thought, we had been dating for 3 years, and we were like, let's try running a business together and see if we can not break up or kill each other while, being in a relationship and working with someone is a lot of that person all up in your business.
Yeah, I've watched what's Kitchen Nightmares, where Gordon Ramsay tries to fix a restaurant, and it's like a couple, and they're just like on the verge of just like murdering each other or like divorcing. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to be one of those couples if I open a restaurant with my partner. But I'm like, I think we won't. Pretty sure 100% we won't. But yeah, I get that.
Well, there's nothing like starting a lower stakes business together before you open the high stakes business. So Angie and I started a business called Eco Dykes, which was a holistic like cleaning service basically. So it was organization, spiritual cleansing, and just straight up house cleaning. So that's how we kind of got the seed money to start the business, which we started as a farmer's market-based business. But so we were just kind of like, we knew we wanted to do this together. So we're cleaning one of our, regular clients' homes, and we're just like yelling, from room to room, like, what do you think about this? What about Oracura? What about Radical? What about, all these things? And then I just said, what about Wide Eyes Open Palms? And she's like, what the fuck does that mean? And I said, and I like the acronym. It's like WeOp, right? Couldn't you, like, if people kind of were in the know, then they'd be like, oh, WeOp. And so Wide Eyes Open Palms is really just a feeling. We basically took half the money that we made cleaning houses to, put away in savings, and the other half we used to just, like, we would literally scrub toilets during the day, and then we would go out and eat at, like, every fine dining restaurant in Los Angeles, just to get inspiration for the kind of food that we, were passionate about, that we wanted to eat. So when we were having those dining experiences, we just felt like we were wide eyes, open palms, So, like, the open palms is symbolic of the kind of giving and receiving that takes place in any sort of restaurant or service environment. And wide-eyed is just like, when you're in love with everything, you know, the soundtrack, the lighting, the food, the service, the flatware, you know, like everything is just so on point.
Yeah.
It's kind of a feeling of awe that you get. And then the acronym WEOP, you know, the we and op, opportunity, options, cooperatives, cooperation, is kind of just, I feel like it really invoked the feeling of community, which was something that from the get-go we were passionate about creating a space for.
That's so nice. I love that. Yeah, I definitely love all those things when I go to a restaurant and I'm just like wowed, you know. It's hitting all the notes. I'm just like, I love the soundtrack. I love like the
full
feeling.
experience.
I love the ambiance. I love the people here. You know, I love the freaking decor, everything. It's not like people think it's always just about the food, but it's about the whole experience that makes the food better. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, things literally taste different, and your experience. I mean, I don't have any scientific evidence to back this up, but I really believe that, like, for me, there's something about if my toes are in the sand and I am eating something, I swear it's like a different experience than if I'm wearing shoes.
Exactly.
You know, like
Kitchen Lingo, when I went there, Matt, the owner, was describing me this book, Salvador Dali, like futurist book, where he started doing dinner parties. Wow. And basically he would try to alter your state of mind while you eat something. So he put like a jet engine inside of like a studio, and then have you eat an orange, so your senses are gone from your nose, so you weren't sure if you're eating an orange. But there's also other stuff that happened in his like experiments. But it's like a sensory overload. It's like it's not just about the food. It's like the experience as a whole that makes everything when you're dining out. It's very important. Yeah, that's all the things I look for, and what I hope to do when I open a place myself.
Yeah.
With
Sasha?
Yeah, with Sasha, my partner. She was on the first episode. Maybe she's gonna be on later, I think.
You can talk about your progress.
Yeah, we can see, hey, where are we going now? I'm just kidding. So did you start? So when you came up with the name, did you start doing like food pop-ups after that?
You know, actually,
or coffee pop-ups, right?
We started. So it's so funny. November 26th of 2013 was the very first farmers market that we did. And a little bit earlier in November, I can't remember the date, was when we hosted our first backyard brunch. So that was kind of the beginning of all of it. And we actually didn't have a name at first. We just called it Backyard Brunch and Pop-Up Coffee Shop. And we had our friend who was an amazing artist. We got like just a sheet, like a neutral colored fabric. I think it was maybe like a painting drop cloth or something. And luckily she was just really talented and just kind of painted us this sign, and we tied it up to like strung it up to two poles and just like somehow jankily kind of hoisted it above our tent at the farmer's market. And we just operated under the name Pop-Up Coffee Shop for a number of months, because we just couldn't decide, and we couldn't we tried on a couple different names. We kind of like would do our backyard brunches and be like, what do you think if it was this name? And then finally WeUp was the one that stuck.
Yeah, Sasha definitely says you guys have the best cold brew in the city.
I mean, Angie gets all the credit for that. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
there's
mosquitoes
mosquitoes in here. Yeah.
I think I killed it.
You did for sure. That's definitely blood. Yeah, the
cool.
mosquitoes season right now is so bad. They're like, they look crazy. They got like these they look like freaking prehistoric mosquitoes. They're like white little specks and stuff everywhere.
It came late this year though. I feel like
it's like because all this like weird weather going on, humidity changing and hot and cold, and it's like breeding mosquito weather for sure. I'm like, okay, definitely, yeah. Watch out for the mosquitoes in here. So tell everyone a little bit about WeOp and like what it is now.
Yeah. So WeOp is a farm-to-table cafe. We're a bakery and a specialty coffee shop. And really at the heart of it, we are a community space. And I think that's actually one of my most favorite things about WeOp is that, over the past 10 years, there is just this like beautiful community that has grown up around us. And I've gotten to see so many things that I always, hoped for in owning a cafe. I've seen people literally go from, talking about having a baby through pregnancy, and then someone will like order Postmates the day after they gave birth and be like, the baby finally came, and then I get to watch that kid when they go to their first day of kindergarten, like we have a lot of stories like that. But also for me, something that is important about WeOp is that from day one, we've always sourced 99.5% of our produce that we use from local farmers and from farmers markets, and all the pantry goods that we use and all the dairy that we use is all grass-fed and or organic and or non-GMO. We always put a lot of energy and intention and honestly a lot of investment of money. It costs a lot more to buy organic and high quality goods.
I mean, we can taste it.
Yeah.
You
I
definitely feel like you can taste it.
Thank you. Yeah,
Delicious.
I'm glad. I feel like a lot of people say that because I'm not gonna lie, like not everyone wants to eat healthy food, and I think that's also a part of our mission is making organic food and honestly making kind of hippie food, things that are good for you, taste good to people.
Yeah, it's delicious. I mean, it's like simple, but it's good. Like I love all your egg dishes there. It's like I feel good after I eat it.
That is something that's so important for me.
I love like the salads. Like the salads are great. They're like nice, like little salads. The spring mix. Yeah. It's like it goes well with like everything, and it's like we should all have that for breakfast, with your potatoes and
Yeah, that's Yeah, I think a lot of people are like, you eat salad for breakfast? And I have a saying, which is a green thing in every meal. I really believe one of the key like principles to healthy living is making sure that we are getting, even if it's literally put 10 leaves of flat leaf parsley on top of your eggs, or or just put, a tablespoon of fermented veggies on the side, or, whatever it is, making sure that we're having that and all those enzymes and, vitamins and nutrients as a part of our.
We all need that, guys. When did you start cooking?
Yeah, I started cooking. I didn't really come from a culinary family, but some of my earliest memories of cooking is that I have an oldest sister who is blind and has cerebral palsy. So she would live in assisted living facilities during the week, and then she would always only just come home on the weekends. And when I was young, I was like very shy and introverted. I usually would have like one best friend, and then I didn't really otherwise have a lot of social life. And so I was gifted a Disneyland cookbook, and I basically just spent my weekends and it was for children, so it was like how to make a grilled cheese sandwich, or but they had a like brownie recipe in there, and it was I can remember the first time I ever tasted unsweetened chocolate. They actually had children like use a double boiler, and I was like,
whoa,
what is this? Right?
I want to see this cookbook. This cookbook sounds awesome. I'm like obsessed with Disney right now. I'm in the Disney phase right now. I just went to Disneyland, and I was like, I'm not gonna like it. And I had like the best time. I was like,
and they won you over.
I'm like, I get it now. Got me, guys.
I grew up in Orange County, so going to Disneyland has always been like a huge part of just my life. And I was like too punk rock and like too anti-capitalist to go to Disneyland for like, I don't know, maybe 2 decades. But now I've come back around.
I think that's how, this is definitely how we feel. We're like, we're like, I'm not into Disneyland. I don't get these Disney people. And then we went, and then we're just like, when can we go back? For Christmas, right? Let's go for Christmas.
I actually just went and sat through a timeshare presentation because they give you 2 free tickets to Disneyland. I mean, I didn't buy a timeshare, but I got 2 free tickets. I was like, awesome. It's worth it.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
And I think that Disneyland is beautiful because it gives you a space to kind of just suspend reality, and just get to drop into that experience. Just give yourself a mental vacation.
And Disneyland is very intentional with what they're doing because they pay attention to details for sure.
Yeah.
Watch some YouTube documentaries or something. Yeah.
I'm sure it's probably sketchy and creepy or whatever, but
Yeah, there's a lot going on over there.
Yeah. Oh, so anyways, so I kind of started cooking from cookbooks basically when I was young. And then I really started I started having to cook for myself when I was a teenager because I decided to become a vegetarian when I was 15. And this was like in the 90s, and people were still like, what do vegetarians eat? Like nasty tofu and raw broccoli. Like literally, my parents were just like, I don't know what you're going to eat, and I think you might die. Like vegetarians can't be healthy. So my only option really was to start cooking for myself. And luckily, I kind of fell in with a great group of really talented chefs, and cooking at the Santa Ana Food Not Bombs was where I learned what a mirepoix was. And just where it really kind of forced me to say, okay, if I don't want to eat bland, nasty food, and if I do want to make sure that I'm healthy while I make this choice to be vegetarian and then later vegan, I was like, I better learn how to do some of this. And that's ultimately what drove me to farmers markets. And I'm just so lucky that I got to grow up in Southern California. And I started shopping at farmers markets. I started shopping at the Tustin Farmers Market in probably, just right when it opened. So I'm going to guess this is like 2000 maybe. And that was like the beginning, though, of an explosion for me of falling in love with food. And I come from a family where basically all of the women who raised me have disordered eating of some kind. Body image issues were huge for me and all of the women around me who raised me. I have a family member who has suffered from bulimia still does, for a long time. And so trying to cultivate a healthy relationship to food was difficult. But luckily, I found the farmer's market and I started tasting things, and I realized that eating with people, it wasn't something to be embarrassed by, or like food wasn't bad. Food wasn't gross. Food wasn't the enemy. I found a way over a number of years to really become friends with food. So that's, I went to college. I got a degree in political science with emphasis in food policy and international trade. And then I graduated from college and I was like, oh my God, I need to make money. And I don't think I'm going to make any money if I just make food all the time, because you get paid minimum wage and that was $10 an hour.
Back then,
and I was living in West Hollywood and that wasn't going to work. So I went through a string of kind of, corporate jobs. And then at 27, I just couldn't get away from food. My entire life revolved around food and eating and sourcing food. And I realized, if I think I want to make this a career, I better do it now. And boy, am I glad that I did. Because, the restaurant industry is really hard on your body and it's super demanding. And I think it's definitely a young person's game. And I can say that at 41. But I had, the challenges that I came up against was every kitchen job that I found listed on Craigslist required experience. But how do you get experience if no one will hire you without experience? So I kept on being caught in this cycle of applying for jobs and not getting them. Maybe I would get an interview and then I wouldn't land the position. So I leaned back on the skill. I had been working in the service industry. I got my first job in the front of the house when I was 18 at Mother's Market in Costa Mesa. I worked as a hostess. I worked in the deli. And then I finally worked my way up to waitress. So I got a job with my friend through the queer community, Deep Tran, who owned Good Girl Dinette in Highland Park. She hired me as a waitress after I bugged her and like wouldn't let her, ignore me. She gave me a job as a waitress, and then I just started making myself really indispensable. And if anyone needed cilantro picked, or someone needed some carrots
I know
grated,
exactly which person you were.
right? Yeah. Do you need help?
Yeah,
Do you need help?
yeah.
I became the kitchen manager there. I started doing all the prep cooking, and then I kind of just started being her right hand woman. And I did that for a year and a half, and then I had a friend who worked at Canalay in Atwater Village, which is a beautiful restaurant that is now closed, but it was started and ran by Chef Karina Weibel, who worked with Susan Goyne at AOC, and was just really passionate about farmers market food. I knew and was friends with the pastry chef at the time, and so she kind of helped me, nudge my way in the door. And I just remember the first shift that I showed up for as the garde manger, and I was absolutely terrified. It was an open kitchen, so everyone's staring at you, and there was not a lot of instruction. It was kind of like, this is the menu, don't do that, so it was a lot of kind of finding my way, but that was a huge game changer for me and a hugely influential job. That was a lot.
That's a lot. Yeah, I definitely know how that feels. I remember my first time being on garde manger. It's definitely the hardest station to work because that's where you learn all your prioritization skills and what to do.
Yeah,
it's a great first job to have.
Yeah, I loved going home after my shift and like making diagrams.
Yeah, he's back.
He's coming to get us.
Or he's like, my friend is gone. I can't find him.
I might have gotten it. Oh, I did.
Oh, wow, you're good at this.
This is a thing. Sorry, I just did that. Yeah, it was one of my favorite things to do. I love organization, and I would just go home after a shift and write diagrams of how I could more efficiently organize my station.
Yeah, I was one of those people too.
I still have those notebooks. I love.
I still have my notebooks
just, like,
too.
nostalgia.
Yeah, it is very nostalgic. I always like, should I cook one of these recipes one day? I was like, I've never done it, but it's just like I was cleaning out one of my rooms and I was like finding all my old like kitchen notebooks and it's like oh, so nice.
They're all like stained.
Yeah, they're
like
stained.
The binding is falling apart.
It's kind of gross when you think about it now, like right, like having someone bring in like their nasty notebook to work every day and write the recipes in it. Yeah,
in your sweaty back pocket.
I mean, it's either that or like take a picture of the recipe on your phone, then you have to like flip through it to go find the recipe on your phone. I don't like that either, though. Oh no, it's weird.
I don't think that I had a phone that
you
could take
definitely
pictures
did not have a phone
back in the day.
Yeah, no, you did not.
It was all analog back then.
Yeah, all analog. You got your like little what's it called, the instant one?
A Polaroid.
Yeah, Polaroid. That'd be cute though. Think about it.
Really
do like a little board, and cork board.
I like that. We have a team member at WeOp who, like, she always, when it's a special occasion like Pride or someone's birthday, she'll always bring in her Polaroid camera and take a picture. So we have a little wall in the cafe with like cute pictures.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
So how does it feel to be a queer woman-owned restaurant, small business in Long Beach?
Yeah.
Because Long Beach is a very queer allied community, as everybody knows, or if people don't know that are listening right now.
Yeah.
But I think it's really special to have a place like WeOp in Long Beach.
Thank you. Yeah. It feels important, honestly. Not and I don't say important in a way that it's about me.
It's what you guys are doing.
Yeah, I just am honestly very concerned about the political climate in our country right now. I try not to read the news every day.
I mean, the news is horrible right now. So
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really scary things going on for women and for queer people in this country, and I think that one of the most, I have, I come from like as I mentioned, I have a degree in political science. I come from a social justice and activist background. And for many years, I was that person who was like in mass mobilizations, in the streets, doing that kind of more direct grassroots community organizing. And as I got older, I decided I wanted a different way to participate in the struggle. And so for me, what that looks like is number one, the food that we source. I believe that supporting local farmers is a very political act, and I think something that we're taking a stand, to show people this can be delicious, and there are so many other great reasons to do it. But I think if you can get people with the yummy factor, that really helps. Yeah. I also think that being a queer woman-owned business is this. We see so many young folks who are embracing their gender journey, at a much younger age than I know a lot of people of my generation felt was accessible to them. And to see young people and to see parents too who are parenting their kids in ways where they say, oh yeah, honey, even if their kids haven't expressed that they're on a gender journey, they can say, you know what, honey, yeah, go ahead and buy that rainbow sticker. Yeah, and put it on your water bottle. They're teaching their children, even if their children are not going to grow up and be queer, that to be queer is not something to be afraid of, not something that is bad or scary, or so I just get to see this work happening in the world, and I get to be a destination. I mean, literally just today in WeOp, there was a young person, maybe they're like 15 years old, and I could just read their energy. Probably assigned female at birth and presenting more masculine, really kind of shoulders hunched over, but a cute little short haircut, looked like with a parent, maybe, or a guardian. And when they first walked into the space, very guarded. And then they got to go through the whole course of service. They waited in line. They saw the people who were dining there. They saw the people who were working there and got to have interactions with them. And I'm telling you, by the time this young person left, their shoulders were back. There was a big smile on their face. And the number of times that parents come to us, they're walking away and they're like, by the way, thank you so much. I think that that's vital.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So how did you meet Angie? I think that's an important story.
Yeah. We met. November is a very special month for us. It's like everything happens for us in November, it seems like. And November is the number of 11, which is a very important number kind of in the trajectory of our whole relationship. And the address of WeUp actually is 416 Cherry. So that's an 11. So we kind of knew when we were like looking at different spaces, like, oh, this one has some magic about it. We met because we were both newly out of long-term relationships, and we volunteered at a queer performance event. I was in a performance troupe, a political neo-burlesque kind of performance art troupe of all femmes called the Miracle Whips. And Angie was a performing musician. She had a band, and she played prides and festivals and toured all over the country.
Whoa, so cool.
Yeah, and so we had been in the same spaces a couple of times. We had performed at the same events together, and I actually went and saw her perform at the Ugly Mug Cafe in Orange because I went to Chapman University. I watched like 2 or 3 of her songs, and I was like, this sucks, let's go. So this is literally in like 2004, maybe. And then in 2009, we both volunteered. We were both newly single. We volunteered at an event called Transgiving. It always happened around Thanksgiving, and it was featuring trans artists. And we both volunteered for this event, mostly because we thought, there's going to be hot people here. And if I'm working the event, then I'm going to get to meet someone, And I was, just true to form to this day. I was in charge of the kitchen. So I brought my own apron and I was like making sure all the snack trays were nice and, making sure like the tables were clean, bussing plates. And Angie was working behind the bar, pouring drinks for people. And it was finally that moment where we looked at each other and we're like, who are you? Like, and where have you been all my life? And it was honestly instant chemistry and just like instant magic. And we went on our first date a week later, and we just never stopped seeing each other since.
Wow, that's so cute. Yeah. Yeah, Sasha would always go to my pop-ups, and I met her so many times, and I just was like so like focused on like.
Well, because you were at work.
Because I was like working, and I met her again like a couple more times. She's like, "It's me, Sasha. You remember me?" I was like, "Oh, I don't remember you."
That's so hard when you're at work, though, right?
I'm just like in the zone, I'm just like running food, and it's like running.
But she saw you.
She saw me, and I just didn't remember. But then now, but.
And how long have you all been together?
I've been together for 2 years now.
Sweet.
Yeah, not as long as you guys. But we will.
Oh yeah, oh my gosh, the first 2 years is so fun.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I still am surprised by how maybe not every day, but I'm not even kidding. Every week, I still find out something that I didn't know about her, or we get to have a new experience together, and it's pretty amazing. Yeah. It's pretty fun to get to be in a long-term relationship. I feel like a lot of people love to talk about how hard long-term relationships are, and maybe that is like the reality for some people, but the truth is there's also just like there's so much joy.
Honestly, me and Sasha have a lot of easy days. We don't really have many bad days at all. It's usually really fun.
That's a good sign.
Yeah, we don't have bad days. It's very, very rare.
Yeah.
So what are some of like the up and downs of being a small business owner? I mean, I've seen your guys' Instagram where you guys are broken into, or the door is freaking broken, like someone just throws a freaking brick through the window again. And it seems to be like, there's so many challenges of being a small business owner.
Yeah. It can't be overstated, to be honest. Yeah. And I mean, especially when you I try to put it in context for myself. Number one, the first 3 years of having the cafe open, you're just trying to figure it out. And especially when you already have an established following like we did when we opened, it wasn't like, there were some times in the early days of the farmer's market, you're just sitting there at the farmer's market and there is no one walking by and you are not going to make any money. There's literally some markets we probably made $150 and we just go home and cry. But yeah, so the first 3 years is really just trying to get some sort of systems in place, get some sort of flow to things. And then the pandemic happened. And of course, that was like a whole other set of issues. I think the best thing to anyone that I would say to anyone who is interested in being, whether it be a restaurant owner or a small business owner, is to start getting your grounding skills down before you ever open those doors or apply for that business license, because you're going to need them. Because really owning a small business is just pretty much a series of like challenges. The maintenance is never going to stop. The staffing, is going to always be, the nature of the industry is that, there's just high turnover. And so I think for me, the number one thing that has saved me through, and made us be able to carry on for this long is just yoga, meditation, spiritual practice, walking, just taking like
going outside.
Yeah, right. Yeah. When I'm having a really bad day at WeOp, I'm like, I need 10. I'm gonna go for a walk. And crying. Yeah. I cannot tell you how many times. It's definitely double digits the number of times that I have had to let myself cry after service. Don't just go and drink beer, or don't just go, don't go like push the feelings down. You really need to like allow yourself to have an outlet for them. And we've had it's interesting because we have had, as you mentioned, a number of like kind of physical damage. So we've had our windows broken 3 times, and we also like just last year had when Angie and I were actually on vacation, had someone come and tear all of the plants out of our parklet. Which they're like all the plants in the parklet are like my personal little children that I care for and I talk to and I water twice a week. So that was, I mean, besides the fact that there's a lot of expense in that, it's also just taxing emotionally.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, and also our culture, restaurant culture, and just like capitalist American culture is not a huge fan of taking breaks, but that is something that we have always done from day one. Because sure, Angie and I could go on vacation and try and leave the team there to manage everything, but as long as the restaurant is open, we're never going to really be off.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I've literally been on a beach in Mexico and gotten a call. So I think sometimes, sure, you're going to not make that money, and so when you are a small business that survives on such thin margins, to have to give up that opportunity to, bring in revenue is hard, but I think that it pays for itself tenfold when you think about the kind of reset you can get and the mental health benefits of just really taking some time off.
Very important. Very, very important. So we're almost at the end of our segment.
Great.
And it's time for our In the Weeds story.
Oh, yes. I feel like there are so many.
I'm sure there's so many.
Yeah. Because really a lot of my career, I have worked brunch services. I think one of my, which is just always, right? People are hungry. Yeah. They're angry. And I've always worked in open kitchens. So they're just like staring at you, right? Like, where is my food? Or why can't I sit at that table? I think one of the funniest ones was when I was working at Canale and in Atwater, and it was Ria Dolly Barbosa was the lead on that brunch shift, and she was so kind to me, and I got to learn a lot from her, and kind of worked my way up to be her assistant on those weekend brunch shifts. And we had these beautiful like Dutch babies, like baked pancakes, right? And this big deck oven. So when brunch service happened, everyone wanted one of those pancakes, and we would always like top it with this Meyer lemon cream and powdered sugar and try and make sure the servers rushed it to the table before it deflated. And so this deck oven is just filled with these Dutch babies. And literally it was me, Ria, another line cook, 2 servers, and the host. And we're all standing at the rail. And we're all going, okay. 1, 2, 3. And like everyone's trying to count how many are on the board and count how many are in the oven at the same time. And there's just like a mob of angry people. Like I swear it's like nose pressed to the glass. And no one could figure out. We're like, is it 15? No, it's 17. And then at some point you just have to be like, fuck it, just keep going. Fire.
Yeah, I hate when your brain starts like malfunctioning when you're trying to like read the tickets. You're you're just like, I can't do this right now. I don't know, just this fire.
Yeah, right? Someone just gets something out here. Yeah.
Oh man, I hate that.
I feel like also though, some of my favorite, I have to say on a personal level, some of my favorite In the Weeds stories are when we did the Sunday farmers market here in Long Beach. And it was me, Angie, and one other person. And I had a camping oven. So it was ran off propane, tiny little oven, and 2 burners on top. And it was just me. I just did all of the tickets by myself. And I had a little rail that Angie like drilled into the table. And so there was sometimes when, we would just have a line down the farmer's market and it's just me by myself and I'm trying to like toast in a little thing. And it's just so deep, like when you're like, I literally can't see the bottom of this stack of tickets. And you just have to keep on one foot in front of the other.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, that was great. Thanks for coming up on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it was definitely a very insightful episode and got to learn a lot about WeOp and who you are and who Angie is. And also, like, congratulations for the Barista magazine cover.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Super cool. Right
that
here.
was so fun.
Pictures right on Long Beach, roller skating. Super cool.
Of course, right? I mean, come on. What says Long Beach more?
I run that path like 5 times a day, or not 5 times a day. I wish 5 times a week.
Yeah.
But yeah, congratulations on that, and
thank you.
And some more success of WeOp, and for being part of the community here. It's a real pleasure.
Okay. Thank you so much for having me. This was very fun.
Yeah. That was it, and that's your line check for today. See you guys later. Bye. Good job.